Welcome to Standard Intelligence, your resource for competitive constructed magic in the UK. This is episode 58 for the week beginning the 10th of December 2018. I'm Dr. Jack Patton.
And I'm Simeon Beaver. This episode is brought to you in part thanks to our supporters on our Patreon. Many thanks to those of you who have made a contribution. It is immensely appreciated by both of us. Anyone who is our supporter on Patreon by the 8th of January will be eligible for the January draw. If you'd like to be in it or would like to learn more about how to support us, please head over to patreon.com/SIcast. With that, let's get right into the news for this week. So the big news, some of the big news from this week was the GP that happened in Liverpool this last weekend. Main event was Team Unified Modern and was won by a team of Becerra, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Freeman and Silver, and they were playing Shadow, Grixis Shadow?
Yeah.
Because obviously I didn't watch any of the tournament.
No.
Because I was there. Grixis Shadow, Boggles and KCI, and KCI was all over the shop.
Yeah,
as far as I know. Yeah. Especially on the captain seats.
Really?
So if you were playing captain seat that beat KCI, you were in quite a good place.
Interesting.
So I was there, as I said, not playing the main event. I was playing side events. I took Trusty Slesnia. My big thing of the tournament happened in round 1 of Sunday 3.
Big thing?
Yeah, so I was well ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I had an active Arch for Razka, and so I was drawing 2 cards a turn, but I was just seeing land after land after land. And so at the point of the game I'm going to talk about, I had 17 lands on the table.
Oh!
And 3 Flower Flourishes in hand.
You're like, I march, and even if I don't kill them because they've got enough blockers or something stupid, I'm at like 500 life.
Yeah, my opponent is trying to play around a march because he's only on 10 life. And he's attacking with just 1 Carnage Tyrant and a Ripjaw Raptor. I finally found my march. I made 15 1/1s.
Crikey.
I blocked... Which creature would you block? I'm going to block with all 15 to gain life because I'm down at a relatively low life total as well. I need to make sure I survive.
So they're allowing you to block. What are you up against?
So there's Carnage Tyrant and a Ripjaw Raptor attacking. There are another 5 blockers. 5 creatures stay back.
Give me a deck.
They're Abzan Dinos.
Okay.
It's pretty Golgari-ish, but with some extra dinos in and with some white.
You block the one without trample, I think.
Yeah, so you block the Ripjaw Raptor.
Yeah, I think so. You let them draw the 1 extra card that they're going to draw.
Yeah, okay, that's what I did. That's exactly what I was expecting to happen. They're going to draw 1 card. That's fine. My opponent says, so I draw 15. No, you don't. You draw 1.
Yeah.
Judge.
Yes.
Judge came along. Talk about it for a bit. Yes, he draws 15.
I am relatively certain that's not how that works.
This was the head judge of the tournament. Had made that call. So he drew 15. One of them was Find Finality. He had the lands to cast the Finality.
So he cleared the board.
To clear all of my 1/1s away. Yeah.
No.
To be fair to the judge,
towards
the end of round 2, he came over to me and he said, I'm really sorry, I made a mistake.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is wrong.
It was wrong. It is that he should have drawn 1 card.
Yeah.
The judge was confused by the various things gaining life that many times.
This is it. Gain life does actually happen that many times. If you'd had, say, a... what do you call it? The enchantment.
Dawn of Hope. Pay 2 and draw a card.
Yeah, you would have 15 triggers to pay 2 and draw a card.
Yes.
Damage is not done like that. Life gain is. They should have only drawn 1 card, yeah.
The reason life gain is done that way
is because it's how you'd expect it to work, sort of.
It's because there's something in the rules that says when something says gain life, it is shorthand for whenever something like this object causes you to gain life.
Yeah.
And each of the objects cause you to gain life. Whereas when it's damage, all damage, it isn't the card saying when is dealt damage, it draws a card. It isn't whenever a source deals damage to it, it draws a card. It is whenever it is dealt damage and all the damage happens at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that quite obviously lost me that match.
Yes. Yeah, that's very tilting. I'd be like, but I knew the rules. And I knew I shouldn't have let them draw 15. I just didn't want to let the trampler, if they... I mean,
Yeah.
what on earth
And
could they do?
I wanted to have more survive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I didn't, and I knew I had the following turn, even without drawing out, I had double flourish in hand.
Yeah.
So it was going to be whatever was left: attack, flourish, you're dead.
Yeah. Well, flourish first, but yes.
Sorry, flourish, and maybe a third flourish if I could.
Mm.
I'm just noticing something on my score pad that's making me being even sadder.
You didn't gain a life.
No, I got so angry.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that was only game 2. I have not got any game 3 written down. I conceded that match when it should have been 1-1.
Oh, Simeon.
I have never been quite so, and I was partly furious with myself because to me, then after the judge had ruled, I'd block the one creature.
Yeah.
Because if I block the other one, I win.
Yeah.
Because the thing doesn't even come up. And maybe I should have blocked the Garnish Tyrant to never give him a card.
Yeah, maybe.
If my math says I win, regardless, even with all of the things from Carnage Tyrant dying, it was if he could pump the Carnage Tyrant in some way.
Yeah, that was sort of where I went, but he's never pumping it over all of your blockers.
No,
and
I didn't want him to kill more of my blockers.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I think it's, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's, yes, you let them draw a card, but they've also kept, the chance at doing shenanigans. I don't know. Yeah, so, maybe Carnage Tyrant was the right one to block anyway.
So yeah, having spent like 8 turns drawing 2 cards, getting nothing.
Yeah,
I've never been so frustrated. I don't tend to get frustrated in match and get salty. I was properly salty, so I apologise to my opponent that I was salty. When he played the finality, I hit the table.
Yeah,
I was really. I then proceeded to lose round 2, and I just dropped. I went, I am not playing round 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I had have done, I think I'd have played Sahar, which would have been fun. But
yeah.
So I finished the whole event, including Turbo Towns, 11, 11, and 4. Very, very medium.
That's an extremely medium weekend. Yeah,
a very medium weekend, and I think Celestia Tokens is a 50% deck.
Maybe.
You win some, you lose some. You draw the right bits at the right time, you win. You don't draw them at the right time, you lose. And I think I've understood why Golgari has done so well on our metrics that we've looked at.
Yeah, why?
I think Golgari is a 55% deck.
Yes.
And every other deck in Standard is a 50% deck.
Yep.
I mean, obviously they're not but it's not that much better than anything else. It has slightly more edge against the majority of the field.
Yeah, that's my opinion as well.
So I'm switching.
Fair enough.
I'm hoping I have enough in paper to switch without having to spend a fortune. Anyway, that was my Liverpool experience.
So there was another large tournament hosted this weekend. SCG Con Winter happened. Now, obviously, the top 8 was in Modern, and half of the tournament was in Modern, but still, it was won by Andrew Jessup, playing KCI in the top 8. But in Standard, they were piloting Is It Drakes, as were their brother, Danny Jessup, who also managed to make it into the top 8. Alongside those 2 Is It Drakes lists, there were 3 Golgari mid-range lists, a Jeskai control list that had Nexus of Fate in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played against a couple of those types of decks over the weekend.
Yep, absolutely. I have now as well on Arena. And 2 Selesnya Tokens decks.
Which is nice to see. And yeah, it is a decent deck. It really is. I think the main deck of tokens is pretty set as well. It's only the sideboard where there are any changes ever. I've just had a look at these 2 decks. One of them's running a citywide bust. One of them is running a couple of Leonin War Leaders. Yeah,
which is interesting.
So yeah, some sort of different tech there for people to take if they are wanting to still play tokens.
Yeah.
Worth looking at.
Of interest at that tournament, there was some modern tech on display. KCI, I think, has started playing a 7 mana artifact that when it enters the battlefield, you blow up one of your opponent's permanents, and then when it leaves, you just put it back in your hand. So obviously you can sack it to KCI and make 2 mana and put it back in your hand, and then just do it again. There are like infinite loops where you just blow up all of your opponent's permanents. Yeah, right? I do not want to have to fight that. But yeah, I think, modern is modern. Is It Drake still does well in modern, which has, been a bit of a breakout deck the last couple of weeks. But standard, as I say, the top 8 of decks I've just noted, even though the top 8 was unfortunately not played in standard. But the metagame breakdown, I think, was an interesting point, in that there were 153 players, I believe, on day 2.
Yes.
And 49 of them were playing Golgari mid-range. A solid third, almost, of the field are on Golgari mid-range.
That's the point where we start to get concerned about a deck.
Exactly.
Obviously, I can't tell from the list from Star City, but are those Golgari mid-range decks actually all the same?
Well, see, now this is the question. Golgari Undergrowth has started popping up on, say, Arena and things. I imagine it'll start making a play into paper relatively soon. As you were saying, you found people playing dinosaurs, basically, lists.
Yeah. There's the list that I played against the first round on Sunday, which has no Explore whatsoever and relies on the elves to get it going.
Yeah, that's sort of... Yeah, that's... So, there's still space within Golgari mid-range that is being explored, but it looks like what we were saying last week is basically right, in that the consensus is, if you're not playing Golgari mid-range, you better have a really good reason. And I mean, that reason can entirely just be, I don't like playing mid-range mirrors.
You look at the top 5 decks where they almost completely mirror what we've seen in our events doing well. Golgari mid-range, followed by Jeskai Control about halfway behind it. And then, apart from the fact Boros Aggro is more popular in America than it is here.
Yeah.
And then the 2 Is It Drakes, the Phoenix and... So, Is It decks, the Phoenix decks and the Drake's deck.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where we've been. We sort of have mono red above where Boros is. But other than that...
Are you looking at the 7 and 1 lists here then?
I'm looking at the day 2 list.
Oh, the day 2 list. Oh, yes.
Day 2 breakdown.
Yes. Yeah, the day 2 metagame breakdown. Yes. So, exactly, that's kind of what I think we sort of expected. This is mirroring very similar to what we would see. Of note, they have also put up the 7 and 1 in standard lists, because obviously it was a split format tournament, 8 rounds of standard, 8 rounds of modern. Some of the 7 and 1 lists, the Selesnya mid-range, the Selesnya tokens lists that did very well, top 8 and that sort of thing. We also see Big Red seeing some play, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that deck does look really fun, actually. But yeah, otherwise, no major surprises. The only decks that appeared outside of the top 8 but are still worth considering are Boros Aggro here. People like Ross Merriam on it and that kind of thing. But other than that, it's kind of exactly as we would expect, to be perfectly honest. The format seems to have settled into where it is going to end up being.
Which is fair when we've got a month left of tournaments, essentially half of which time is taken up with Christmas.
Yeah.
We are pretty much at the end of what will be the format. The Golgari decks are all running for Llanowar Elves. All of the 7 and 1 decks. And 2 Druid of the Cowl. Do you think that's right?
Having started playing Llanowar Elves again recently, I hate it, but yeah, I do. So the deck that I really want to get a hold of, I'm wondering if their specific list is here. Doesn't look like it, dang it. I want Brad Nelson's, because he was playing, as you say, it was the Llanowar Elves, the Druid of the Cowls. I don't know how many of the Druids he was playing. He was also playing an Assassin's Trophy in the main. Because sometimes you just need to answer something, like you need to answer something. And he was playing Khan Scion of Urza. And the Mana Dorks make Khan Scion of Urza really good.
The second place deck is running everything you've said so far. Yeah.
I imagine that there's... I imagine in Roanoke there has started to become a consensus build, and I think it looks very, very good. Even, I think I'd mess with the sideboard a little bit, but I agree relatively well with all of what's going on here.
What they've got.
The detection tower, I don't know if you were watching my stream about an hour or so ago, Simeon.
I was not, I'm afraid, sorry.
It can do some work. Detection tower against Phoenixes, against Drakes, very good if they try and dive down.
Yes.
Detection Tower, obviously, against Carnage Tyrant. That was where the innovation came from. And the fact that you have the ability to find it with any of your Explore creatures and just put it in your hand, even though it's, acting as a pseudo spell in some matches. And then also Vivian Reed being able to pick it out of the top 4 cards of your library, if that's what you need.
Yeah.
It's really quite good. I had not fully understood just how good. I'm really glad that this Evan Whitehouse's list is the one we're looking at. I'm really glad that this has gone back up to 3 Memorial to Follies, though. I missed that card. Like, I don't draw it as much as I would like anymore, so having this list with an extra one in there is really happy. It's really good for me.
So I today and yesterday have gone full on arena mode, which I think we'll come to a bit later. But This was the deck I built. Was Golgari on Arena. Unfortunately, I've run out of rare wildcards, so I'll need to find one to get a Detection Tower.
Yep.
Because I do not have that in my current list.
No, I think you should. I think it's very good. It occasionally gets you in the early game, but I think the upside is worth the risk. But other than that, it's as we were saying, it's kind of exactly what we'd expect to see out of the 7-1 lists, and indeed the day 2 metagame breakdown, which is really interesting actually, to see our metagame mirrored in the Invitational without there necessarily, we didn't come to a consensus at the Pro Tour. If we had something like Rakdos midrange that we had last season and the season before, I would have been like, yeah, of course we're going to be seeing exactly the same metagame. It's the same format,
But the format's sort of developed post Pro Tour into this.
Yeah, exactly. And the decks that did well at the Pro Tour, I'm thinking Boros Aggro specifically here, are just another deck. They're another good choice deck that you can play. So I think your opinion on the format is right. I think, yes, Golgari mid-range is probably like 55% generally against the field because it's got outs to do everything. Black is a very good colour at the moment in terms of, sideboard capabilities and that kind of thing. But every other deck is a defensible choice. It's just those slight edges we see them eke out tournaments on such a regular basis now that we just sort of go, well, okay then, at the moment this is the best deck until someone can figure out how to actually beat it. So, yeah.
And even if it's not 55, if it's 52, I think that's still actually an edge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's an edge worth taking. A 51% deck that you're okay with playing is an edge worth taking.
But if there is another deck that is 70% against 3/4 of the field, then you take that, even if it's 10% against the other quarter. But there just isn't.
There isn't. Hopefully, we're out of the phase where that's going to be a case in Standard for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay then. So, the other bit of news from last week.
There was nothing. Nothing else, Jack. That's it. We've got nothing else to talk about.
Nothing else is happening. The Magic world is not changing in the slightest. We don't have to panic. To what we are alluding, folks, is that there was a large announcement on the state of competitive Magic and, in particular, how Magic Arena feeds into this. And it's created some interesting discussions, some annoying discussions, in that we don't have all the information, and I think has confused a lot of us. I was certainly confused Friday morning waking up to it, so I think we should head into the deep dive and we should have a look at this announcement and what it means.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the announcement on what was for us Friday morning basically gave us a look into what Wizards wants Magic, in particular Magic Arena, to be starting in 2019. Wizards has announced that they are plunging $10 million into prize pools across all of Magic in 2019, which is apparently more than double 2018's prize pool. We'll get some discussions about that later.
It is more than double the prize pool.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The start of this is sort of the collapsing of the Pro Players Club down to only the top 32 players. These top 32 players will be given $75,000 yearly contracts with Wizards. They will be playing a weekly event on Magic Arena, which will be broadcast every... they didn't actually say if it would be like every weekend or what, but there will be a weekly Magic Arena event.
I would expect it is not weekend.
No, because they're going to want to save that for GP and
yeah, that would be taking over their other thing. So it'd be during the week. And I wonder if it's not that they'll all play in one event on one day, but that there'll be something almost every day with some of the 32 players in each day. Who knows?
That would make a lot more sense. A nightly broadcast, Monday through Friday, where it's, only 3 hours long, maybe, or 2 hours long. But what you're getting is, say, 6 of those players playing every night, or 4 of those players playing every night.
Yeah, and I guess, certainly you can't ask players suddenly who might have other commitments life-wise to play every day at a specified time. So, yeah, you're going to have some, I don't know, there will be something in it, but it won't be all 32 playing each week, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, something like that. But this is them trying to step into the same shoes as, say, League of Legends had with their regular weekly play tournaments and that kind of thing. Plenty of other esports have done similar things. It's just League of Legends is my point of reference because it was how I got into esports, or got into watching esports, I should say. These top 32 players who are obviously receiving a contract, they're creating content for Wizards. They are, as far as I know, not locked into writing articles for Wizards. I think I've actually seen exactly the opposite. They will be allowed to write for anyone else and continue produce. And they're also allowed to continue doing their own streams. So they'll be building their brand and that sort of thing.
So I hope so, because otherwise $75,000 is not a lot.
No, exactly. I hope they get to continue doing these things, but it will be their job. I think the understanding is that they will be giving up their day jobs, if they still have non-Magic related day jobs, which most of them will, to play Magic and create content. I think that's sort of the implied inertia here.
That's the intention, I believe.
Yeah, we want you to give us the best possible content, and what that means is you aren't coming home from a day at work tired to then give us your second best. You're giving us your best. But obviously, these top 32 players, while they haven't actually announced the metrics by which they will be picked, they will rotate in and out, as players are come up and go down in the leagues.
You think? I don't. No, these 32 players have signed a contract.
Well, yes, for the year is my point.
Yeah. So do you think it will be yearly?
I think it will be yearly change.
Or do you think it'll be seasonally change?
I imagine it's yearly change, because asking someone to give up their job for 3 months with no guarantee about when you'll actually come back. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be a whole year, it could be 2 years if you're very good and you stay on the train. You can't really do that, because you can't say to a job, I want a sabbatical for 3 months, and then go, actually, it might end up being 6 months, it might end up being 2 years. They're going to say, resign, please. And you can't resign from
time.
Yes. You can't resign from a job and then go, well, I don't know if in 3 months I'm going to have no job.
Yeah, I hope it's yearly, because I
hope it's yearly.
That gives you time to go, right, so I need to build my brand
exactly
while I have this yearly contract. So in case I drop out the top 32,
I'm still one of the top streamers of Magic Arena.
I still have
Twitch.
Other things. Although 10 years down the line, you're not going to be able to do that, because there'll already be the top streamer. Yeah, the other players who dropped out the top 32 over those 10 years are in that bracket, and where are you?
Yeah, exactly. My opinion is that it's going to be a lot easier for these 32 to stay on the train than it is for anyone to get on it. Well, because if you are being paid to play Magic, and all you have to do is think about Magic and play Magic, then you're going to be able to improve your game.
And not forever. Just that. Not just that, they also have their invites that they're guaranteed, which we'll come on to.
Yeah.
You say that, but you look at the winners of the Pro Tours, and they don't tend to be the player who play any of the players who you would put into that bracket of they spend their entire time playing Magic.
Maybe you're right. Maybe.
Interestingly. But yeah, let's get on to the tournaments that they will be in.
So, yes, exactly. So what we currently call the Pro Tour is being changed. It is being called a Mythic Championship, for all intents and purposes, this is a Pro Tour, but it's being called a Tabletop Mythic Championship. These will be qualified for through the same methods as a Pro Tour, including Magic Online. Any qualification method that used to get you to a Pro Tour now gets you to a Tabletop Mythic Championship. They have also announced that the previously announced Pro Tours Dallas and Sydney are going to be cancelled. We're going back to 4 of these Pro Tours per year. Which I think is probably fine. I don't see any downside in going back to 4.
Well, unless you're in Sydney.
Well, yeah. For Sydney and Dallas, that's a little bit sad, actually. If you're a Sydney or Dallas Magic player, I imagine you'd be a little bit annoyed about that. They will still obviously have their Magic Fests in those cities, but there won't be a Pro Tour associated with them, unless that's where they host something else that we'll get onto in a bit. The Pro Tour will lose all of its travel awards post London. So Cleveland and London, if you are qualified for and you have travel awards, you will still be receiving your travel award. That's still going to happen. Don't worry about that. But all Pro Tours after that will not have a travel award associated with them. In sort of an offset to this, the prize pool has been doubled from 250k to 500k and now will pay out to the very last place.
So,
yes.
This is what I meant by doubled, trying to say it in inverted commas, in that I wonder how much travel cost Wizards when you bear in mind sometimes the lateness of qualification for Pro Tours and trying to get flights halfway around the world at late notice. It's not cheap.
No.
So last Pro Tour was 500 players?
Something like that, yes.
Say 350 of them were paid travel?
Yeah.
If they get £1,000 each?
That's $350.
$1,000 each? That's £350,000.
Yeah.
So I can understand why Wizards have gone, no, we're going to roll it up into this big number that we can put at the top.
Yeah, of course.
But it makes it look like it's a lot more than it actually is.
Yes. I had a discussion with someone and they basically said, so we've lost our travel awards, so some people who, win their tournaments, if the Pro Tour is in an expensive location, if you were flying to London, it's not cheap in London.
No.
Those people are now priced out of going to the Pro Tour because they can't afford it. Even if they were to say you will definitely get, X amount back, it's harder to do that for a lot of people, like pay up front and know that you're going to get it back.
But you have to sort of go, I can only guarantee I'm going to get the minimum.
Well, this is the other problem.
To do it if I only get the minimum?
Yeah, the minimum probably won't be the same as the most expensive travel awards. It's
definitely won't be, will it?
No, because otherwise they would have done this years ago and rolled it all up into the prize pool and just gone, yeah, those awards that we were going to give people, they're now the lowest level.
Because you could pay the person playing last $100, and you've still paid down to last place.
To last place, exactly. Yeah, there's been no prize structure announced in any way, shape, or form, folks. Yeah.
So what paid down to last place means is very dubious.
Exactly. The loss of travel awards, I think, is going to be one of the more keenly felt parts of this for a lot of people.
Though as far as I understand it, you got your travel award after you'd paid for your travel in the first place.
Oh, okay. So you were still getting paid back, but you knew exactly how much it was.
But you knew how much you had to spend, yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough. Yes. So those are what we called Pro Tours and are now Tabletop Mythic Championships. Why are they called Tabletop Mythic Championships? Because there are now going to be Arena Mythic Championships. These will be, you qualify only through Arena. You can only qualify for Arena Mythic Championships through Arena.
Excellent. How can I do that, Jack?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
The information will be coming. And I tell you what, if that was a phrase that could have been just stapled on the top of this announcement, if more information will be coming, it would have saved us all a lot of time.
But maybe they should, when they announced that they were going to announce something on the 6th of December, they should have said, but we weren't going to announce everything. There's going to be some more information coming.
Or maybe they could just stop announcing things at announcements. Yeah, as you folks may be able to tell, we've been dealing with this for the last, almost week now, trying to work out what's going on, trying to see what we can tell you, and it's just like, no, there is very little information, like hard information, no numbers anywhere, because Wizards don't know them, as far as I can work out. Like, I don't think Wizards fully know what their prize structure is going to be, because they haven't really, I don't think, got a solid idea as to the number of people turning up for every Pro Tour.
Do you think they've gone down into that detail when you bear in mind that 3 weeks ago they announced, 4 weeks ago maybe now, that there were going to be 6 Pro Tours?
6 Pro Tours. No.
And now there are only 4.
Yeah. This is my problem. We've had an announcement, as you say, less than a month ago that has now been reversed. We've still got to talk about a ton of stuff here, but the long and short of it is, everything feels like it's been rushed for some sort of perceived deadline. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that if you want to introduce this in 2019, you should definitely announce it in 2018. But we are barely still in 2018 at this point. So announcing it now doesn't actually give anyone any time to do anything with any information you might give us. And what information you have given us, we can't really act on. We don't know how we're qualifying through Arena. I need to buy gems to enter these tournaments? Almost assuredly. But I don't know. How am I qualifying for my paper tournaments? We'll get into methods of qualification that are, what we know about them and a little bit later on. But there's just so much missing that I'm very angry about that.
Though, to be fair, 2 things to be said on that. One, it's an online thing. They can announce it the day before.
Yes.
And it's not like someone has to book a room somewhere and you have to book travel to it.
Yeah.
You need to be at your computer.
Yep.
And 2, if they'd have given us all the details we're asking for now, I'm sure we would, within that, see lots of other details that we go, but we want to know about this as well. And yet, on the other hand, if they gave us everything, we'd be like, that is too much information, don't do that.
There's a lot of information coming, and I know you're devil's advocating here, Simeon.
I am a bit, yes.
Yeah, but I think that a lot more information has been held back. Like, this is a brilliant attention-grabbing headline that they've put on at the Game Awards, which I honestly didn't even really know still happened.
Didn't know still happened. I didn't know happened. Full stop. End of story.
No, they became a little bit of a joke in gaming media circles, and I assumed that someone went, okay, we're a laughing stock, we should stop now. But apparently not, and apparently they're still going, and apparently announcements are made at them, and thus is our lives at the moment. It's the fact that, yes, you wanted to grab attention and you wanted to do it in a place where people who aren't just Magic players, who aren't just enfranchised Magic players, will see. I totally get that. Like, I absolutely get that. Announce it at PAX. Announce it at any other gaming convention. You will get a similar turnout.
So you're right, they had to announce something now.
Yes, this is the problem. Because Wizards have said we want to change the system and then gone, but we haven't really, look, let's not beat around the bush here. Arena's great. It's still in open beta. And I know it feels mostly finished, but there are a ton of things still missing, There appears to be no tournament hosting system in place.
There obviously is a tournament system I'll get my teeth in now. A tournament hosting system in place that we don't have access to yet.
I hope you're right.
There is no way they have set up something where there's going to be qualifications in January and they don't have a system built.
I hope you're right, but we don't know the information.
But we don't need to know that until they actually run a tournament on it. They don't need to run the tournaments on it until January.
Fair enough. Okay, but I still maintain that there are things like, the economy still isn't 100%. We've still got this 5th card problem. Are you really going to invite people into your card game, make a big splash, and then go, oh yeah, them 5th cards?
That's an enfranchised Magic player problem.
But it isn't.
It is.
But it isn't, Simeon, because someone goes, oh, okay, cool, I've opened 4 of this rare, or I've made 4 of this rare, I just opened another one. Oh, what does that do for me? Nothing.
No, but it never did do anything, really.
But the problem is, on every other TCG, it does. On every other collectible card game that is run digitally, it does. On Magic Online, you can sell them. On Hearthstone, you turn them into dust so that you can craft more cards. In Artifact, you get just everything, and you can just sell them on the market, like very similarly to MTGO. I think if anyone comes in to this with any sort of TCG background, they're going to go, oh, that feels like a weird way to handle it. So I get some number that I don't actually see, and I can't currently access without going into the log files to open up the vault, which gives me, what is it, like 1 mythic, 3 rares, 6 uncommons, and 10 common wild cards.
No common wild cards.
Some.
I think it's too many. Something very bad.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I don't think the new players, it takes them a while to spot that that's what's going on.
Right, yeah. You're thinking Wizards are hoping that before that becomes a problem for their newer players, or at least a noticed problem for their newer players.
And a major problem for them. And they've got to be pretty enfranchised before they really care about a 5th card and what's happening to it. And I can't build this 4th standard deck that I want to build.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not wrong.
And yes, it needs sorting. And they've admitted it needs sorting, and something will happen with it. And I'll be annoyed about all the packs I opened today. But I needed to do that. So anyway. But they're also still in open beta. I know.
Yeah, that's really my point. It's like you're in an open beta. How do you think this is going to work when you bring in people to this game that is effectively released? It's just not
they have brought
released.
in people to this game.
Yes. Oh yes.
So I heard numbers today that they have said that there are 35 million Magic players now. The last number that was talked about was 20 million.
And that was like 4 years ago, I want to say.
But essentially, and whilst we can argue about how on earth they get to those numbers,
yeah, exactly,
there is that large percentage increase in player base, and that is almost essentially down to Arena.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be.
So to my mind, what's happened is Wizards put together the 6 Pro Tours.
Mm-hmm.
Going, we had to make some changes. We've worked out this. We're doing the 6 Pro Tours. We've announced it, and then Hasbro came in and said, "No, you're not. You need to run."
Arena's doing really well.
Arena is doing, is well ahead of the curve of where we were expecting it to be. It is amazing. We need to make put everything here. You need Arena Pro Tours.
Yeah.
Work out how to do Arena Pro Tours, and there need to be lots of them.
Yeah. So at this point, with the numbers we're looking at, 10 tournaments, we're looking at 6 Mythic Championships on Arena, 4 Mythic Championships in Tabletop. That's 10 tournaments, 10 major tournaments. And I mean, Simeon, you were doing the maths, and you basically said after London we're going to have a tournament literally every month.
That's that. It's almost after once we've got Cleveland. Cleveland in February.
Yeah.
So we missed 2 months out. So I was imagining it was January and March, and then we've got London in April, and then we've got May and June, Barcelona in July.
Yeah.
August, September, October, Richmond in November, and then one in December.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be weekly events with these major these Magic Pro League players, this top 32. So we're going to be getting so much Arena content coming out of Wizards themselves, which is going to be really interesting to see, and a good thing. Do not take my skepticism for how this has been laid out as me saying, Arena's bad, it's not real Magic. It's real Magic. It's absolutely fine. You can do everything on there that you want to do. Occasionally you have to push control and it all gets a little bit fiddly, but you can do everything, and mostly it's way smoother than
you mean
Magic Online.
Unlike Magic Online, where
you're always pushing control.
Every turn is a little bit fiddly.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is an amazing thing for Magic. I just hate the way it was announced. I absolutely despise the way this was announced, and I kind of agree with you, Simeon. I get the very distinct impression that someone went, you need to announce something, and the Game Awards are coming up, and we know some people there. there, so we're going to tell them that you're going to announce things at the Game Awards.
And also,
you best be ready.
Wizards was the big name doing something at the Game Awards.
Mm.
It was the announcement of the Game Awards. Whereas had they done it at PAX,
Yeah.
there were all sorts of other companies also plan their announcements at PAX.
Mm.
So all of the media coverage of whatever there is in America of media coverage of this type of thing will have been on Wizards and no one else.
Yep. Yeah.
It feels like a very American announcement as well. But so
it's super American.
We're unlikely to like it because it's an American announcement.
Yeah. Everyone's going to know your name. Even me, Sir Mix-a-Lot. I'll know your name. Okay, sure.
Do you assume the top 32 players know who they are yet?
I think they do. I think they do.
And
I
so
think it's been spoken to. And I think the way Wizards is talking is like, guys, some of you have forgotten to give up your Pro Players Club bonuses. Please go ahead and do that.
Because there are some players who you would have expected to have been in the top 32 who are not. Who have said on Twitter, I haven't had anything, so I guess I'm not in it.
Yeah, who?
Gregor Kowalski is the one that springs to mind.
But didn't he just...
Top 8 Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Currently 12th in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, he's been kind of crushing it and came out of Magic Online, if I'm remembering correctly.
Probably.
I think he was a Mox guy for a good long while. So it's like clearly a person willing to play online card games as well as just the paper ones, you know. Although I'm pretty certain that every pro is going to play Magic Online.
So
at the moment.
do we... No, they're not.
Hmm?
They're going to play Arena, not Magic
Well,
Online.
yeah, they're going to play Arena, yeah.
Do you think it's going to include people like Brian Kibler?
Okay, so that's the other part of this announcement. The Hall of Fame is changing, and they haven't really said how, but they're going to unveil.
They've said
Hall of
that
Fame thing.
They said 2019 will be the last year of Hall of Fame voting and qualification as we know it.
Yes.
So there's a whole year ahead of normal Hall of Fame.
Normal Hall of Fame stuff.
Although Hall of Fame benefits are
Yeah.
to Pro Tours.
Yes. Exactly.
These
yes.
are no longer Pro Tours.
Yeah, exactly. So you've gone around your own legal workings there by just going, well, these are not Pro Tours anymore. So you don't necessarily get invites off of your
They're going to have
Pro
to not.
Players Cup,
They're going to
their
have to
Hall
not
of
get
Fame.
invites, aren't they?
So if what you're saying is the people qualified automatically for every Mythic Championship is only the top 32, you have to do away with the Hall of Fame. Because the Hall of Fame's biggest benefit is you are auto-qualified for every Pro Tour, and when you show up, we give you money.
That's not doing away with the Hall of Fame.
It's doing away with the Hall of Fame in the most meaningful sense.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame, it doesn't allow people to go, talking American still, go to the Super Bowl and play in the Super Bowl every year. It's a recognition of achievement within the game. And to me, that's what the Hall of Fame should have been. It should always be just a recognition of what you have achieved, not a benefit you're going to get in the future.
I mean, maybe. You're not wrong. I just know that a lot of people have tried to get there.
Open it up to people like Marshall Sutcliffe being in the Hall of Fame and Brian David Marshall being in the Hall of Fame and Rich Hagan being in the Hall of Fame, which is where it should be.
Yeah.
And it was only because, but this allows them to play in every Pro Tour, that they didn't want those sorts of people getting it. You know what? The Nummies should be in the Hall of Fame. It doesn't need to be able to qualify for every Pro Tour for it, though.
Yeah.
Surely is that not what a Hall... To me, as an English person, that's what a Hall of Fame is. It's the people who have made the game what it is today. The people whose records you try to break.
Yes.
Not this person is... And it's almost like you want people to be retired before they're eligible for it. Although, come on, I think Reed Duke is eligible this year, so he has to get in on first go.
He's got to get in, yeah. This is his last chance, maybe, in this qualification method, so...
Because having people who haven't played for the whole year, or for the whole season, and they go to the Pro Tour and they have to read every card because they haven't played the set yet.
Yeah.
You're like, but the best players in the world, the current best players in the world should be at the Pro Tour.
Yeah. The
previously best players in the world should have their names up in lights and have a museum or whatever.
Yeah.
Not be playing there. Anyway, that's my rant over for that.
Yeah. So you're like, Brian Kibler, who plays Hearthstone, shouldn't have free invites and also get paid for showing up to the Pro Tour not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, he does know what's going on.
Of course he does.
But there are other people who played in the early 2000s who essentially do not play except at 4 Pro Tours a year.
Yeah. So, no, I get what you're saying. And there's also this, question of, well, is the 32, is it actually the best players in the world? Or is it, the best combination player, streamer, personality?
Is it the best? So, for the first year of it, does it make sense that it's the best names?
Yeah.
It probably does. It will feel bad for certain people.
Yeah, it will.
But that is probably the right way to do it. And then you set a qualification bar, and it might be the bottom 6 performers of the 32 go into a playoff with the best 6 outside performers.
Yeah,
that type of there is
relegation,
but it's not the whole 32 could change year to year.
Yeah, because
you don't build up fan bases that way.
No, exactly. No, I think that's pretty reasonable. I don't like the idea of it being this person's quite popular, and therefore we're going to put them in this exclusive club for people who get automatically qualified. It's I
do understand that for the first year of it.
I do, and I hate that I sort of get it, because yes, it would help build the brand, and it would help build the understanding of what this is, because they then go on streams and that sort of thing. And
do you want all your 32 players to be white middle-aged males?
I mean,
no, you don't.
No, you really don't.
So you need to find a way of making it so that's not the case.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And yeah, we are going to find people who are they really should have been in it.
Yeah, of course. If Gregor really isn't in it, then that seems a little bit crazy to me.
That is a name which,
like you say, currently the 12th best player in the world by rankings. If they don't make it in, you've sort of got to go, okay, what metrics are you using? And the problem is, of course, that you haven't set any metrics, right? We've gotten to the end of the year, and you've gone, okay, in a month's time we're creating this thing. There's no time for people to prep, to qualify, to try and do anything. So it just basically has to be okay, Wizards is just going to choose this year.
Yes, this year Wizards is going to choose.
And then, you know what? Everyone who's better, prove it.
Yeah,
prove it next year.
That is essentially what they're going to have to come down to.
Yeah.
Americans aren't going to get relegation. American sports doesn't have.
Oh, they don't have relegations. No, of course they don't. They have the set teams in the league, and then they redraft players a lot of the time, don't they?
Yeah. Essentially, I know you're not the person to talk to about American
the sports ball.
Well, any sport, let alone American sport.
No. Anyway, so yes, there are a lot of issues with this. The main point, I think, for a lot of our listeners, however, is going to be how am I still trying to get to the Pro Tour? Because I think most people listening, and certainly you and I, Simeon, have this ultimate dream of making it to the Pro Tour. And now they're not going to be Pro Tours anymore. They're going to be Mythic Championships. Doesn't matter what their name is. They are, to me, the tournaments where the best players in the world can go and try to see who is, with some variance involved, the best. And that is the purpose to me. I want to play against the best. And so how do we go about getting there? Well, as we've already mentioned, there will be arena invites for arena qualifiers. Don't know how they're going to work, as Simeon says. Fortunately, with computers, all you have to do is be able to log in at the correct time and play, which hopefully they will do what they've done on Magic Online, which is the rotating by time tournaments, so it makes it sort of work in a lot of different time zones.
Oh yeah, don't expect that.
Yeah, I'm concerned.
Expect to be playing at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Or even worse, from 1 a.m. through till 8 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Those sorts of things. Yes, but carrying on from that, then.
But for the paper tournaments, the tabletop Mythic Championships, the methods of qualification haven't really changed. Your GPs will still award invites to the next, possibly still region-locked Pro Tour. So if you qualify at a European Grand Prix, you will be invited to the next Grand Prix in Europe.
No, the next Mythic Championship.
Mythic Championship, rather, in Europe.
Which, if you're having to pay for your own travel, is actually what you want to do.
Great. We're okay with that again. Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden, that announcement makes a lot more sense. But the top 8 and the 13 and 2 players at GPs will still be getting their invites. That is not changing. The other methods of qualification that revolve around playing in paper. Now, we haven't got a full update of this, but the Wizards Play Network, the WPN, which controls every tournament played, will be running a series of qualifiers. Now, there are 2 types of these. We've sort of discussed this. This was sort of announced previously, but in more context now, we get to say it again. There will be invite-only qualifiers at WPN stores. These will be launching as a pilot
in March.
In March, yes, thank you very much, Simeon. They'll be launching as a pilot in March, but they will have a similar structure to PPTQs, where the winner goes to the Pro Tour or the Mythic Championship.
Do you think the invitations will be based on playing at that store, or based on number of Planeswalker points you have?
Planeswalker points, because of this line. Events will be invite only, with an attendance cap set by Wizards, and players will earn their invitation through play in stores like yours.
Yeah, okay, yes.
I believe that you won't, because if Wizards said there will be invite only qualifiers at X, Y, and Z store, but not A, B, and C store,
then everyone goes to X, Y, and Z.
Everyone goes to X, Y, and Z as opposed to A, B, and C, because they're the only ones where you can play to qualify.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Even if you never intend to really go, like, even if you're not super hyped on it, you're just going to go, well, there's a chance that I will.
Could it be something like you have to have played 6 FNMs in the last 3 months?
I mean, this is the other thing that it might be. It might be exactly that. It's not Planeswalker points. It's some new metric that they'll come up with. But I believe
that encourages people to play in store.
Yes, but I believe that they will be applicable everywhere. And it might be something along the lines of, you know, when you go and buy a coffee or something and you get like a stamp on your card, and it's like every 6 FNMs you play, you get to play 1 invite-only qualifier. Choose which qualifier you're going to on this website and tell us you're coming, you know, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that might be a thing. So yeah, there's a possibility of a very niche qualification method, as you say. I have to play an FNM at the store that I want to do the qualification for, or I have to play in 6 FNMs, or 3 standard showdowns, or, you know, some other thing. I think the easiest way to do it, certainly in the first year, will be Planeswalker points.
I hope so, because I'm at just over 1,000, and I hope there is some point to me having got them.
I'm at just under 1,000, so... Yeah,
Boom! I've gone past you. It's the first time I've gone past you this season.
So those are the invite-only events, and it looks like a lot of places will get to run them. And the thing that's going to be holding every store from holding these back is simply the number of people available to play in them. You know, you don't want to be like, okay, we're going to run our invite-only event this weekend, and, you know, there's only 30 people in your area, say, that can go to this because they're the only 30 that are qualified at the moment. And then another store goes, yeah, but we're hosting ours as well.
I do not think that most stores will be running those.
You don't think?
No.
Okay.
Because then there's that would be a PPTQ that's invite only.
Yeah.
That's...
that would be really weird.
Francois of Axion was saying to me that he expects essentially to it come back to maybe slightly less frequently, but sort of PPTQ level stuff. But can you imagine? We had 30 PPTQs in the UK in this season. Yeah. What they want to qualify 30 people for the next
from a country from a
small country like England.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So at most in a season there'll be 8.
Yeah.
At most, because that's double the number who qualified through the RPTQ.
Through the RPTQ system. That was exactly what I was going to say. It's okay, we've gone back down to 4 now 4 PT type events. So we can ignore the idea of trying to make them smaller, which was what was announced when they announced the 6. So maybe what we do end up saying is, no, they're going to be the same size, which means that these invite-only qualifiers will allow, from your region, qualification of the same number as would have happened.
Except there's no bronze and silver and gold.
That was kind of the point I was thinking of. It's those qualifications now go away, so you can up the numbers slightly.
And there could be no Hall of Fame invites either.
Well, yeah, if there's no Hall of Fame invites,
so that's
that's another 30-ish players. How many?
Probably. I don't know, and they don't all go anyway.
Well, this is true.
But if in England, maybe you don't take away that many people by taking away bronze, silver, and gold.
Well, you've got to remember that bronze qualifies you for the RPTQs. That's what bronze gets you.
Okay, silver and gold. So silver and gold.
And silver only gets you 1 PT, I think.
But you take all of those silvers away for every PT.
Yeah.
Not that many from England, but loads from America.
Yeah.
Because they have so many more events, they have so many more people who reach silver.
Yeah. So, exactly. We might be looking at something...
Maybe 8 events a season makes sense. But that's still not every store. That's still only 8 stores, not 30 stores.
Yeah. But alongside these invite-only qualifiers, we're going to have open qualifiers. Now, these are even less defined than what we've got from the invite-only ones. They, again, sort of think about PTQs in that everyone can show up. There'll be no attendance cap on these.
I mean, but although there will, because of the size of the venue.
Because they'll be the size of the venue, exactly. Yeah. Or at least there'll be no attendance cap set by Wizards.
Yes, there'll be no qualification cap type thing.
Yeah. And they're going to be hosted by what Wizards are calling professional event organisers selected by Wizards. And apparently each of them, or some of them, will award not just to the winner, they will award multiple Mythic qualifying.
So the thing to think here is SCG's tour.
Yes.
That's really what it's aiming at. It's not... Yeah. And then encouraging other places to have similar stores with, or similar programmes of multiple events with this big prize at the end of it.
So we go back again to the idea of the Magic Madhouse events.
Yeah, the Dark Sphere events. And I imagine Alexi is possibly thinking of starting those up again.
It was the Dark Challenge, I want to say.
It was.
Yeah. Maybe we'll even see other tournament providers coming through, such as the Dartford Open folks. They might be able to break into the scene with, enough tournaments. So yeah, those are our new paper setups, and I'm sure a lot of you are sort of going, this seems like we should know where these stores are, but at the same time, until you give us actual places to go and play, this doesn't mean a great deal. I think the biggest thing that I want to know is, how are we qualifying for these invite-only ones? Where will they be held? And who gets to pick the formats? Because, as we've mentioned before, Modern is the most popular format. If people are only going to go to tournaments in their most popular format, then stores are only going to run them if they can choose. And if they can choose, Standard doesn't see a great deal of play. So I don't think Wizards is going to do that. I think we'll come back to a system very similar to the one we've currently got, except PPTQs aren't happening anymore. We'll have slightly fewer events, as you say, maybe 2 a weekend, maybe 1 a weekend through the season.
I would not be surprised if it was all Standard only.
Actually, I wouldn't be either. Yeah, just get rid of Modern entirely.
Well, and Limited.
Yeah.
Or, you know what would be amazing? Would be if they weren't that frequent, but if they were double...
multi-format events.
Double format events, and then we're not so worried about the thing we haven't mentioned yet of the losing Nationals.
Yes.
But although there are other reasons for being upset at losing Nationals.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the last point that I don't think we've mentioned yet, and that is just... Oh no, we still haven't done the MTGO qualifications. Okay, so very briefly, because again, this is an announcement that was made a while back and it hasn't really changed. You can now qualify for the Mythic Championships through the Magic Online Championships. It hasn't really changed in the last 2 years. The way they've named things and the types of events that can get you in, so you can do format challenges to get you into format playoffs and
the
competitive leagues in Pauper, Modern, Legacy or Vintage.
That's the important bit, is that those formats allow you to qualify for the Magic Online Championship.
Yeah, exactly. And then you go into the specific format championships, and then you're going into the Magic Online Championship, still with 24 competitors. You can also do it through acquiring points, the qualifier points that you should have all now had change over, basically, from the 2018 points to the 2019 points, if you play online, or Magic Online rather, which will get you entry into a preliminary event. Which scores you points on the Mox leaderboard, which can take you to the Mox Championship. But if you do well at a specific preliminary, you can get into a playoff, which if you do well at, you go to the Online Championship, which also gets you to the Pro Tour, that kind of thing. So those systems are still in place. The way you get to Pro Tour through online is still by playing Mox style events, preliminaries into playoffs, into the Online Championship, or opens directly into the Online Championships, or scoring a bunch of points from opens, preliminaries or playoffs that get you on the leaderboard, that get you one of the open slots for the Online Championship, which I believe all 24 get to the Pro Tour. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I can't remember. Did Autumn get a Pro Tour place as well as the place in the Magic Online Championship?
Yes, they did. I remember that.
Then yes.
Yeah. And then, as we say, you can do competitive leagues in the other formats, Pauper, Modern, Vintage and Legacy, and that can get you to specific format playoffs, which can then put you in those formats championships, which can get you to the Magic Online Championships. Or you can do format challenges, which can directly lead you into the format playoffs, and again, championships and Mox itself. So those are the qualification routes for tabletop Mythic Championships through Magic Online. And then, yes, Simeon, the last thing, I think this hit me really hard, actually. Like, I didn't notice it at first, and then you mentioned that that Nationals was going away, and I sort of went, sorry, what? Why would you do that? That seems insane.
Yeah, I hope they rescind this one.
Yeah.
I don't care if it doesn't lead to anything else. Doesn't need
to
go
if
to a
if there
Mythic
is
Championship.
No World Magic, if there's no World Magic Cup, that would be sad, but
we'll live. But I think it's great having a national champion.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think you look at how Autumn has developed their career after winning Nationals for the first time last year and then winning it again this year, and put their name on the international stage by winning Nationals. And the Canadian champions at various times have done the same thing. Yeah. It just feels like a tournament which is open to everyone in your country who has played a reasonable amount. And yeah, by all means, double the Planeswalker point level, because the numbers playing were possibly a bit too big. Or even treble it. Just make it a smaller tournament, but have a national champion somewhere.
Yeah, that is my opinion as well.
Certainly at Liverpool, that was the thing that most people were upset about. I know that Eduardo has had it mentioned to him as feedback. I'm pretty sure Willie Adles had the same thing from the South American communities. Fingers crossed it leads to a Wizards turnaround and they bring back Nationals. There'll be some big fanfare about bringing back Nationals.
You mean like there was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's... Yeah. I have loved Nationals. The last 2 years of Nationals have both been absolutely brilliant events, and they are a way that I've started judging my progression as a Magic player. You know, it was a multi-format event, which meant you couldn't just be good at one thing. We're losing Nationals, we're losing the World Magic Cup. Pro Players Club is sort of going away as far as we can understand. And the Pro Tour Team Series is going away.
Yeah, that I also will miss. I think that was a good innovation. I like the Pro Tour Team Series. Obviously, they can't do it with the split of the inter-arena and tabletop. And I suspect that's something they didn't want to get rid of, but it's something that had to go so they could focus on the things they'll be doing instead.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there you have it, folks. A breakdown of sort of what we've managed to get hold of at the moment with regards to what's happening, what's changing, what's leaving us, what's coming in, what's staying the same. It looks like the announcements about Magic Fests are mostly just holding, as were. It's a lot of news to take in. It's a lot of info to take in, and obviously we've also sat here and debated the finer points of it as well. So I hope you found this to a certain degree enlightening. I will post all of the links that we have used to get this information. So Wizards' original announcement, the Magic Online Championship stuff, the Wizards Play Network article that talks about the new format for invite only and open qualifiers and that sort of thing. I'll post that all with this episode, so go into the episode description and it should be there. If not, just poke me on Twitter. I'm sure I will still have the tabs open because I imagine I'm going to be rereading them multiple times. But yeah, it's a lot to take in, right, Simeon?
It is, yes, absolutely. A lot to take in.
What's your feeling at the moment?
I think overall it's a positive.
Yeah.
Overall, it's definitely not a negative. It's great that Wizards is finding a way to be a proper esport instead of just a yes, we're an esport, really honest gov. I have, as I sort of have intimated at various points over the course of this cast, I've gone, right, I'm not playing on Magic Online anymore. What I've done is, because the prices plummeted for both this announcement and the thing that was on Channel Fireball earlier in the week about prices disintegrating on Magic Online, and that caused them to disintegrate even further, I bought the Tron deck on Magic Online. Bought the Tron deck, signed off from Mana Traders, who were great. Yeah. They did absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, I had a month ago, my credit card had changed and I hadn't notified them, and so I lost my subscription, and then I got it back up and they reinstated all of my benefits. Unfortunately, a month later, I've gone, actually, I'm going to sign out now. Oops. Yeah. But yeah, I've gone, instead of paying that money to Mana Traders, I'm going to put it into Arena.
Yeah.
And if I spend $35-ish a month on Arena, I should be able to have almost any.
Did you listen to the Limited Resources episode going optimal on Arena?
I did listen to the Limited Resources episode going optimal on Arena. I recommend it. I don't listen to Limited Resources very much anymore, but I did listen to that one.
Yeah, same.
I tried to do drafting and found that I'm really pants. But I've put $100 into Arena. I've got the Slesnia deck pretty much built. I'm a few rares short. I've got the Golgari deck, which is what I wanted to focus on first. I'm pretty sure I could put together almost the whole of the red deck now and the Izzet deck. So it's 4 tier 1 decks of standard.
Yep.
I'd like them to sort out the 5th card issue, obviously. But I'm going to play the competitive constructed queues on Arena now instead of playing on Magic Online.
Magic Online. Yes.
Which I think is the right way to go if you're a standard player. If you're a modern player, stay on Magic Online.
Yeah.
Anyone thinking modern is going to go on Arena, no, it's not.
Not for at least 4 years.
Not for long. It's not.
I don't think it ever will. No.
The interactions that modern requires the system to be able to deal with make it so it won't go on Arena. Now, there might be a new format with some of the current modern cards in Arena, but modern...
They're calling it Standard Plus, and it will start at... what was the first set that they had in the closed beta?
Well, yeah, no, it could start at Kaladesh, but it probably won't.
Yes. It won't if Wizards is sensible.
But
there were too many broken cards in that set.
They could do what they did when they put some of the modern stuff into Magic Online when the cards weren't there. They did a Magic Online only set to get some of the cards.
Actually, that was Vintage that they did that for.
Right.
And they did Vintage Masters, and that put the cards into circulation and gave them the ability to then start running Legacy and Vintage events.
So that's a possibility, but I don't really see it happening.
No, me neither. Like you say, if you play Modern, Magic Online is probably where you're going to be.
I believe their intention of keeping Magic Online for Vintage, Legacy, Pauper, Cube, Modern, all of those things, not Standard based, will still be there, and Standard will be on Arena.
Yeah, that's kind of where I go with it as well. And I'm going to, amusingly, I had previously sold my Modern deck online, but I'm going to go and I'm going to buy my Pauper deck back with the tickets I've got on Magic Online and buy probably a fair chunk of my Modern deck back as well. And then, yeah, I might sign off of my Mana Traders account as well. Like you say, I think I'm paying £25-ish a month.
Yeah.
And if you say, okay, a set comes out every 3 months, that's £75 that I could plough into Arena.
That's the $100 buy the maximum amount of gems.
Exactly.
Get the 80 packs, whatever it was. And if necessary, play the just do the one-off event, the league, no, ladder events to get your daily amount so that you can buy another 20 packs. Then you'll hit a point, at some point through the format, where you're not needing to buy packs anymore.
You could just save your
and
gold.
You'll just save your gold and spend it on the next set.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my current plan. Let's hope it doesn't change.
No, I'm right there with you, Simeon. I agree. We should have come out of this announcement and gone, that's amazing. That's fantastic. For a lot of it, we have just received. You know, we haven't actually really lost a lot. We'll talk about that in a moment. We haven't really lost a lot. We've gained another 6 Pro Tours, in effect.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm perfectly willing to play on Arena. I think it's a great platform. I think we should be really using it. And plenty of pros have been saying, look, I only tested for this tournament on Arena.
I'm looking forward to watching those events on Arena.
Yes, watching paper events it's hard to get them to sort of work right. I think the SCG does an excellent job of this, but Magic Online is not a good tool for streaming. Like, that's the other thing that I hope they're sorting out for Arena, or have sorted out for Arena right now, and that is the observer mode being correct, being set up right in my mind. And that is, you know, we can see both hands on the screen automatically. You're working with someone to create a Twitch overlay that I can hover over a card in their hand and I can see what it is. You know, that kind of thing. As long as that is going on, we should be really excited about this. But the problem is, the announcement doesn't actually give us enough information for us to go, okay, well, we've got 3 weeks until it's the next year, and we can't plan our competitive Magic. Like, we don't know how many events they're going to be every weekend. As you said to me, I was considering going to Grand Prix, and then Wizards said, oh, we're going to be scaling back PPTQs back into a system similar to the PTQ system, and you sort of went, oh, well, maybe if they do that, I'd rather do that
than go to Grand Prix. Yeah.
Than go to Grand Prix. And now it's like, oh, but what am I doing, you know? Which one is actually more likely to be a boon for me? Which one am I going to enjoy more and also get the most out of? Is it going to be going to Grand Prix? And I think a lot of players, if there is nothing more than, you know, 13-2 gets you your pro invite, and then you get a little bit of money for top 64, I want to say, gets money at GPs.
It's, again, the money is going down lower with the bigger payouts next year.
Yeah. There's no pro points, and so the players that I knew, your Charles Elatambis, your Nick Wags, who were all bronze, basically said, well, I don't need to go to PPTQs anymore, which freed up space for scrubs like me and you, Simeon. And they went, so I can, instead of doing, you know, 10 events a season, PPTQing, travelling around the UK, I'm going to go and do a GP every month in Europe, you know? But if you can't do that sort of thing by going to GPs, are you just better off grinding out your local PTQs or whatever they will be? And that's the problem at the moment. We can't plan because we don't have all of the information. And then, as you say, the information that we definitely have is things like, Nats are gone, despite the fact that for everywhere except the US, they were incredibly popular. And everyone who's been trying to climb the ladder into, you know, bronze and silver pro, that's going away. So
my playing, I don't know about. My watching of Magic,
yes,
I'm very excited.
I am super. As a spectator, I am super excited about this. As an aspirant, I am really confused.
I wait and see what January comes. That's when our next announcements are meant to be.
Because we're being told when those are.
We've been talking for a little too long on this.
We really have.
So we probably better move on and tell people where they can go and play their PPTQs this weekend.
Definitely play this weekend. Absolutely, Simeon. You are correct. It's actually the World Magic Cup this weekend.
The last World Magic Cup.
The last World Magic Cup. So hopefully you'll be watching that. Obviously, Simeon and I are biased, so we'll be supporting Team England.
We will.
Go Autumn. But hopefully all of the home nations will have a good run. That's what we're looking for. And hopefully it'll also be a really interesting event. Unified Standard. I love Unified Standard. I think it's really interesting. But if you're not going to that, and if you're not planning on watching it, you could go to the PPTQs at Chase Games in Cannock, Travelling Man in Leeds, Murphy's Vault CCGs in Edinburgh, or Yards Games in Arbroath.
With that last one being on Sunday and the others on Saturday.
Yes. There's actually only one other PPTQ this year, and that is Atomic Comics and Games in Yeovil. And the list of other PPTQs after we come back in January is quite long, and I will start announcing those next week because I don't think our episode is going to go live before that first set of PPTQs. So,
yes. We do need to announce that next week. That Yeovil one is on the 29th of December, by the way.
What would you play this weekend, Simeon?
I would be playing Golgari.
Yeah, welcome to the dark side.
Hello.
Yep, I would also be playing Golgari. I think it's a brilliant deck. It's exactly what I want to be doing in Magic. But you know what? I don't think you're wrong to play Boros, aggro, or white weenie, splashing frenzy basically, or heroic reinforcements. Is it Drake's or is it Phoenix? I think Is It Drake's might be slightly better, but Is It Phoenix? Jeskai Control, preferably with Treasure Maps and Niv Mizzets, because I think that deck is completely busted. And
Celestia Tokens.
Celestia Tokens. I mean, it's certainly not a bad deck. Absolutely.
No.
I think there's a bunch of decks that you can play and definitely not be wrong with. So
yeah, but you're more right if you play Golgari mid-range.
You are slightly more right if you play Golgari, I think. Yes. Yes, absolutely. We haven't actually mentioned any deck lists, but if you want to look at any of the deck lists from any of the previous season, the last few PPTQs, in preparation for this weekend's PPTQs, or indeed the ones in January, just get your advance warning in, do head over to standardintelligence.uk. If you'd like to talk to either myself or Simeon, I am at JackPatton42 on Twitter. Simeon, you are?
I am at SimeonBMTG.
If you'd like to talk to us about anything longer form, do email standardpattern@gmail.com. We have an active YouTube now.
Yay! Thank you, Jack. Well done.
Yes. This episode, and in fact the previous two episodes, have gone up on our YouTube. The last episode was my first attempt at doing like card and top 8 and deck information being shown on screen as we talked about it. So hopefully this episode has slightly less of that sort of information to concern ourselves with, but at the same time, hopefully that sort of thing is useful to you if you are watching or listening on YouTube. And if you'd rather go and have card images pop up, do head over to our YouTube. Just search Standard Intelligence and we are actually the first result, but we don't have a proper channel URL yet.
Because we need a few more subscribers to do that.
We need a few more subs, we need a few more videos and that sort of thing. Yes, exactly. I'm also back to streaming. I'm streaming basically every day is my plan now. Streaming Standard on Arena. I'll be running competitive events. I'm trying to play 10 rounds of Magic every day.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
That's the plan because obviously I am JackPatton_MTG if you want to come join us. It's pretty fun. Chat's super chill, but I will be playing, basically every day. And I think Friday I've got Alex Watson to come on, and we're gonna sit down and we're just gonna test.
Excellent.
We're gonna actually go through the process of how you test a deck to fight a certain matchup, and I'm hoping I can convince him to pilot Golgari, and I'm gonna figure out exactly what my sideboard plan is, because I still can't work out whether we should be leaving in the Llanowar Elves, leaving in the Wild Growth Walkers. What should we be taking out if we're leaving those in?
From my very little experience of my one league, where I essentially, I guess we call it a league.
I'm going to keep calling it a league.
Where I went 4-2, so I was quite happy with that. I have taken out the Wild Growth Walkers against Golgari. I think it's about the big stuff and who has more big stuff and whose big stuff can come out first.
Yep.
So the elves may stay in, but it's definitely big stuff and it's not about life gain.
No. The only question I have is you can get your Wild Growth Walkers to the point where they challenge a Carnage Tyrant.
Yeah, where they are big, but
the chances of that happening and your opponent not just going
Vraska's Intent, Chupacabra, all sorts of things that kill Wild Growth Walkers.
Yeah, precisely.
Cast downs if they've kept them in.
Yeah.
No, it's about big things and Planeswalkers.
Yes, Planeswalkers are good. Anyway, that's going to be my Friday night instead of our regular Friday night Magic.
I might be watching because I believe I'm at home Friday night. So
and then on Sunday I will have Helen Learns MTG.
Cool.
And I think I'm going to be trying to teach Helen about the colour pie and why different colours are important to understand what they can do. Like to give a quick shout out to Chris Vincent over at Master of Magics. I'm pretty certain his article going up on Thursday will be talking about his Liverpool run.
You think?
Yeah, well, exactly. So if you're interested in some Team Unified Modern stuff, do head on over to there. I'd also like to extend another thank you to our patrons.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And again, if you'd like to head over and figure out and see how you can support us, please do head over to patreon.com/SIcast. And if you do that before the 8th of January, you'll be entered into our next prize draw for a playset of a standard card. That's how you say that. Probably. It might be a playset of a card spoiled.
We shall find out in January.
We shall, indeed. Anyway, thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.